Recording starting. Okay. All right. Well, welcome to tonight's vagus nerve reset. We're going to learn all new techniques tonight. I actually got my certification recently, a couple weeks ago. Yes, woohoo! I got my certification in vagal toning. So I am now an official certified vagal toning practitioner. Even though I've been doing vagal toning for years myself, I found the work when I was struggling with gut issues and have been incorporating it into my work with clients. I decided, why not learn from, the student of Dr. Stephen Porges, who developed what's called polyvagal theory. I took the certification course from one of his students, Dr. Ariel Schwartz, who's a pretty big name in trauma therapy. If y'all have never heard of her, she's pretty great. You can find her stuff. You can go to her website, YouTube. And if you have, those of you who have the Tapping Solution app, she does a lot of those tapping meditations, the vagal toning section, some of them on the trauma section. She is the narrator of those. So she has a very soothing voice. And so taking the certification course was a treat because she taught the lecture and then she would show, she did a lot of yoga stuff and a lot of the techniques. So everything we're going to learn, I'm going to teach you tonight, is coming directly from her. All right, so let's start by rubbing hands together, taking a deep breath in and let it out. Okay, kind of shake it out. Maybe, let your body kind of do what it wants to do. You need to do a little neck crack or whatever you need to do. Let's rate level of anxiety at the beginning from 0 to 10. If you have 0 anxiety, it would be 0. If 10 is the worst you can imagine, it would be 10 or somewhere in between. Mine, I'm going to say 6. So hopefully when we re-rate at the end, that number will come down. Okay, so the first technique is called mindful mobilization. So, okay, good, a 4. Okay, awesome. 5. All right, cool. See if we can get them down a little bit. So we're going to do a little bit of what's called mindful mobilization. And these techniques are really good to when we are in a, sorry, my dad is texting me. And I always get nervous when I hear texts come through from my dad because he's, in his wheelchair right now, but he's just sending me pictures of their new cabinets. So I will look at that later. Okay, so anyway, mindful mobilization is good techniques for when we're actually in a freeze response. It can also be good for fight or flight, yes. But one of the another really good reason for doing mindful mobilization just simply means mindfulness means we're bringing awareness to it, right? Mobilization is we're just doing very gentle movement. And these can be great techniques to do when we're in a freeze response, which, just to quickly review, freeze response is when we feel numb, we feel checked out, dissociated, disconnected, and we need to get back into engagement with ourselves, our bodies, our brains, our thought process, other people. We need to connect with other people. So mindful mobilization techniques are great for this. And I think I taught you guys this last week, but for those who weren't there, we're going to do this one again. This is called Robin's breath. By the way, can you guys hear me? Okay, how's my mic volume? All right, cool. Thought I just heard a ding. Oh, okay. Hearing things. Okay, so this is Robin's breath. So what we're going to do is we're going to bend at the elbows and put arms on shoulders. And we're going to do, we're going to alternate between stretching back, kind of like, this looks like a bird, and I guess that's why they call it robin. Oh, we got yawns already. Oh my goodness. Ooh, it's working already. Of course, I know it's also the end of a Monday, but Okay, so to your comfort level, you're just going to stretch back. You can even put your head back as far as you can without going into pain. Get that nice spinal stretch, that nice stretch down, like even the traps, the thoracic area. And just breathe normally. And then we're going to alternate by coming forward with the elbows, nice and slow, and see if you can touch the elbows together and just contract forward and hold here. And getting a nice stretch too in the back and the spine. And pay attention to things like more salivation, yawning, sighing, spontaneous breaths, goosebumps, chills, shivers. Those are all signs, cues that the body's giving you that nervous system is getting nice and relaxed. Okay, now let's go back again. Stretch back. Ooh, as far as you can go without going into pain. This is a nice spinal stretch. And let's go forward. And let's go one more time with this one. Let's go back. And if you need to do any extra movements, like neck side to side, if you need to do some neck circles, if you need to crack. Ooh, I definitely feel like my neck needs to crack. You can do some intuitive. You can maybe move shoulders if you need to. Let your body, let your nervous system run the show here. All right, and then contract forward, elbows touch together. Ooh. This is such a good one to do at your desk, in the middle of your day, in the middle of clients, before you go into the next meeting. All right, shake that one out. All right, how'd you guys like that one? Cool. All right. Yawning. My back needed that. Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Spine. That's a good one for the spine. Okay. So along the same lines, we are going to do something called pandicular movement. And I'm trying to remember why it is called that. This is the definition of pandicular. Dr. Schwartz equated it to animal stretches. So, you ever see an animal when it gets up from a nap, a dog, a cat, stretch. And it just, the big yawn, the tongue hanging out. So that's what we're kind of do. So we're going to actually go back into the robin's breath, but we're going to take it a little bit differently. So let's go back into the beginning pose of the robin's breath. But this time we're going to take arms overhead, like we're just getting up from a nap. Or maybe we're an animal waking up from a nap. Ugh. And then let your body kind of do what it needs to do. My arm feels like doing my wrist feels like doing some circles here. You can do both arms if you need to. You can grab wrists and get a better stretch. Yeah. Just kind of take it wherever you need to go with this one. Ooh, had a nice little burp there. Well, that's a good release. Oh. You can go like this with fists. You can also do a little bit of the contracting forward. And then just kind of turn it into a gentle, flowy motion of contracting, of stretching back and contracting forward, and just kind of allowing your body to take over. I feel like I want to stretch my elbow here, or my what is this? Tricep. That is it. I feel like my triceps need a little bit of stretching. So see how this can be a really good one to do at your desk. And you can just let yourself go into whatever your body feels like it needs to do. Okay. So you see how that would be a good one for both fight or flight and freeze. Because when we're in a freeze mode and we can't really move, this is very gentle movement to get the blood flowing again, to get the heart rate up. So you can see how it would be good for both. So it brings both in the middle. All right, that was again called pandicular movement. Okay, so now we're going to do something called the basic exercise. We're going to incorporate a little bit of movement in with some visual exercises. Now, this was created by Dr. Stanley Rosenberg, who also, I believe, was a student of Dr. Stephen Porges. He created polyvagal theory, but Stanley Rosenberg wrote a book called The Healing Power of the Vagus Nerve. Any of you like to read, or if you like, audiobooks, that is a good one to pick up. And the basic, actually, my chiropractor gave me that book many years ago. I have it on my bookshelf. And this is one of the first vagus nerve exercises I learned. It's called the basic exercise. So there's two ways to do it. I'll show you both ways. First way is put hands behind head with elbows out to the side. And this is to keep your head from moving. We don't want to move our head. We want to keep it straight. But what you want to do is look to the right as far as you can go without going into pain. And we're just going to hold the gaze to the right for 30 seconds if you're able to. And just breathe naturally. You may notice some rapid blinking here. It may be difficult to hold the gaze. If that's the case, then go ahead and let it out. Let it go. Let your arms down. But if you can hold it for 30 seconds, see if you can get there. Okay, let it again. I know arms start to kind of hurt there too. Here's option 2. If you didn't like doing the arms like that, you can make an L with your fingers and go like this. This is just to keep your head straight so you don't move your head. You can try it this way. So let's look to the left this time, keeping head straight, but looking to the left as far as you can without going into pain, holding that gaze if you can for 30 seconds. If it gets too difficult, then go ahead and let it out, but see how long you can hold to the left. Breathing gently throughout. Now, this one is a good one to determine your vagal tone. Ooh, Okay. It's about 30, I think. This one is a good one to determine vagal tone. If you struggled to hold it for 30 seconds, then obviously your vagus nerve needs a little bit of work. So this is a good one to work up to keep practicing this one until you can hold it for 30 seconds. One thing we did forget to do, but let's do it now. Let's do our cervical rotation assessment. So we rotate head to the right as far as you can go without going into pain. And just notice how far you can go. And then go to the left without, as far as you can go without going into pain. And just notice your range of motion here. And then we'll keep reassessing that as we go along. Got to do that in the beginning, but that's okay. All right. So that one is a good vagus nerve reset for the eyes, for the ocular nerve, because we take in a lot of stimuli, obviously, through our visual system. So that's a pretty easy way to do a visual reset. A similar one is called the half salamander. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one arm. Let's do the left, bend at the elbow, put it behind the head, and put your arm all the way straight out to the right. And we're just going to bend over, let right ear go towards the right shoulder. And now we're going to look to the left. Look towards the left elbow, again, as far as you can without going into pain. And just breathe here. Nice and gentle. And if it hurts, just let it out. Okay, let that one out. Shake it out if you need to. Okay. Actually, yeah, let's repeat the cervical rotation just to see what happened with that side. So go ahead and repeat that one. Okay, I got more range of motion on my right side there. Yep. And my left. Okay, so that was a good reset for me. Anyone get a negative response there? If you did, if it was worse or if it was tighter, that just means that it was maybe a little too much, and that you can either choose to skip it for now, or you can repeat it, but just maybe not hold it as long. Dial it back a bit. Right is better, but left same. Eyes to the side, maybe a bit dizzy. Yeah, okay. And that's very common. And if that happens, that just means vagus nerve needed a little bit of love, right? And that you can, right, or whose doesn't, right? You can repeat it, but just hold it less, like maybe 5 seconds, and that's it. And then work up to longer, Okay, so let's try the other side. Let's bend right arm behind head, stretch out left arm all the way straight, left ear towards shoulder. You don't have to touch. And then look your gaze to the right without going into pain with the eyes. Just gently look to your right and gentle breathing throughout until you feel like you're done. Then you can let it out. Ooh, okay, that was a breath in. That tells me I'm done. Okay. Lots of yawns. Okay, good, good. Okay, so let's repeat that cervical rotation. See where we're at with after that one. Okay. I can look more to the right and the left. Ooh, that was a good one. I got a high payoff with that one. Yep. High payoffs. Okay. These, that'd be so-so. Okay. Yeah. No worries. Like that either just means, your nervous system wasn't feeling that one tonight, and you can try it again another time and see, and do it for very little bit of time, few seconds, and then stop. and then work your way up to longer. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. Oh, yes. Okay. I'm like, what is that? Crossover 2.0. Okay. So you guys remember the calming crossover, which is right over left or left over right, whichever way is comfortable for you. And then bring it in, hold it here. So I've created, this is one I created actually myself. It's called Crossover 2.0. So what we're going to do is it's similar to this, but instead what we're going to do is take the right elbow and cross it over into the arm, the pit of the left. Yep. And then see if you can grab the thumbs. Yeah. Yeah, you got it. Okay. And then just hold and just breathe through it. So basically you're putting one elbow inside the other and you're grabbing thumbs and then you're just holding. And this is crossover 2.0. Just breathe through it. And if you want to add a little bit of extra, you can either, look to the right or the left. If you don't want to add extra, you don't have to. Or if you want, you can turn your head to get a little bit of stretch in the neck. You can always do things to add what's called load. Okay, go ahead and let that one out. Shake it out. You can always do things to add difficulty or what's called load. And then you can always do things to decrease the load, depending on, and this is why we do frequent assessments to see where your nervous system is at. So if you got a negative response with the nervous system rotation, so let's go ahead and do that right now, or the cervical rotation, excuse me. Okay. That was positive for me. But if you get a negative response, that just means you need to decrease the load on these exercises or until you feel like you've gotten a positive. And actually, if you do get a negative response, what you want to do is follow it up with one that you know you will get a positive response on. One like, Debbie, for you, your tongue circles. You always get good payoff with that one, right? Pick your rescue drill that you know always works. For me, it's tap collarbone or calming crossover, eyebrows, tap eyebrows. So there's yep, butterfly taps. Those are always ones that I know work every time. So whenever you get a negative response, immediately follow it with one you know is going to give you a good payoff. Okay, head and neck reset. Okay, so we're going to take palm, whichever one you want. I usually do my dominant hand, and we're going to press it gently into the forehead. And you're just going to push your forehead into the hand so you get a little stretch in the back of the neck. Pretty easy, right? And then just breathe. You can close your eyes if you want. I got a nice spontaneous breath there. And more salivation. Okay, go ahead and let that one out. Ooh, go ahead and repeat your cervical rotation there. Okay, that one was good for me. How are you guys doing? So, okay. If you need to, like I said, if you need to do a rescue drill, one that you know will work, please feel free to do so. All right, so next we're going to do hands behind head, kind of like we did before, but all we're going to do is just push into the back of the head while you push your head back into the hands. So you get a nice stretch up the neck, up the occipital, back of the head. even in the shoulders. And you can choose to do a couple things here. You can close eyes if you want, which adds a little bit of load difficulty. You can keep them open. You can look to the right or the left. You can kind of play around with this one. Or you could stack it with tongue circles. If you really want a high payoff and you want to stack two together, as long as it's not too much, and you could try doing some tongue circles. Okay, my arms are screaming to let that one out. Whew. Breath in and out. Okay, let's repeat cervical rotation here. Ooh, that was good. I'm almost turned all the way around there. All right. Forehead, sides of the head. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing, but on each side. So take, let's do right side of the head and just push gently into the hand. You'll get a nice stretch. Actually, I feel it on both sides. And you're getting a little bit of a stretch in the arm here. Okay, I had a spontaneous breath there, so I know that one is working. I had a swallow right there. And again, if you want to stack this one with, let's say, tongue circles, you can do that. All right, let that one out. Breath in and out. Let your nervous system take a beat, catch up, and then do your cervical assessment. Okay. Everybody still doing okay? Okay. And let's do the other side. So gently just push in with your hand to your head. And you can just do this one if you want. You can stack it with some tongue circles if you want. You can close your eyes if you want. There's lots of options here. You can look to the right or the left, or you can just do this. Let your nervous system be your guide. Whew, big breath in. Okay, let that one out. Breath in and out, and repeat. Cervical. Okay, good, good, good. Okay. Jaw. Okay, now we're going to do the jaw. So what we're going to do with this one, what's this one with the jaw? What was that with the jaw? I guess it was just giving it a little stimulation. I don't think it was supposed to push into it or anything. Yeah. Sometimes I write notes down and I'm like, what did I mean by that? I don't know. It's just a little stimulation. Our mouths work hard all day from talking. Okay, that feels good. Especially if you have TMJ, if you get headaches, migraines, anything like that. This is a really good, easy, gentle one to do at work, at home. Okay, lots of swallowing there. All right, let's repeat. Cervical. All right. So you should be noticing that your range of motion is getting better and better, or just staying the same, maybe because you can't go any further. Or you'd be Linda Blair going around all the way. All right. Okay, straw breath. You can do this with a straw. I have a straw. I'll demonstrate it with and without a straw. I forgot to tell you guys to go get a straw. So I'll demonstrate it with a straw, and then we'll do without. So with a straw, what you're going to do is you're going to exhale through your mouth 80%. Okay. So I'll demonstrate. You can watch. So 80% of my breath, I'm going to push out through the straw. And then the remaining 20%, I'm going to push out through my nose. So pretend you have a straw, and I'll demonstrate it without the straw. So it'll look like this. And you're going to inhale first, obviously. You're going to inhale, take a big inhale. And then you're going to exhale like you have a straw, about 80%. And then the remaining 20% out through your nose. And then at the end, it's going to force you basically to take a big inhale in. And that is what's called the straw breath. Hope that made sense. Let's try that one more time, since most of us don't have straws. Okay, so let's take a big inhale in. Exhale about 80%. And then the remaining through the nose. Until you can't breathe out anymore. And then it forces you to take a big inhale. Woo, okay. That's a really good way to get in a big flood of oxygen to the brain. All right, and let's repeat our cervical. Oh yeah, all the way. I'm like turning around to the back of my chair here. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of what's called no and yes sequencing. So imagine you're in a situation where you have to set a boundary, right? Those fun boundaries that we work on in this group. So I want you to imagine that somebody has asked you to do something and you don't want to do it. And you want to communicate a boundary. This is a way to visually express. Now, you wouldn't really do this to a person, but visually, a no is we're going to just gently push our hands out. This is a no. Now, if we want to say yes to something, it's going to look like this. Yes. We're inviting that thing or that person in. Yes. So if it's a no, it's going to be no, push out. And if it's a yes, yes. Okay, good, good. Yeah, even like swaying, even put hands to heart, swaying. Love that, Bethany. That was good. Okay, one more time. No. And yes. Yes. Good. Yes. Yeah. Can even do prayer position. That too. Good. Okay. Whew, breath in and out. And cervical. Okay. Might not have to go to my chiropractor for another week or so. This one. You know, since I've started doing this vagus nerve work, I only have to go to my chiropractor like once a month for maintenance. When I used to have to go faithfully every week to get cracked. Now I only have to go once a month. Of course, he knows a lot about vagus nerve stuff too, so it's very helpful in that respect. Okay, couple more. Now, some of these are yoga related that you can do standing up, but we're going to do them seated. So you can know how you can do them at your desk, on your bed, in a chair. So most of you know the cat-cow pose in yoga, yes? Okay, so we're going to do a seated cat-cow, right? In your chair, on your bed, wherever you are. Okay, so so the cat would be kind of rounding. I'll stand up, kind of like this, yes? Kind of like we did in the beginning when we did the contraction. So go ahead and put your hands like on your knees and round your back like a cat stretch. And then reverse, you're just going to look up and arch your back up. And take your shoulders all the way back without going into pain. And look up to the ceiling. Oh, good. Okay, now go into cat. Round your back. Ooh, good. And back into cow. Stretch your shoulders back. Look all the way up. Ooh, that's a good one for me. Okay, let that one out. And do whatever you need to do. Shake it out. What do you call this? I'm forgetting the word. Rotate shoulders. Missing the word here. Yeah, roll. There it is. Roll. Thank you. The word could not come to my tongue. Roll the shoulders. Yes. Okay. So that's seated cat and cow. Now we're going to do seated side stretch. So this one is kind of like the salamander one that we did. But what we're going to do is instead, we're just going to stretch. And you can choose if you want to put hand behind or if you don't. You don't necessarily have to. You could also put hand on your hip if you want. You're just going to take, I know you can't see my arm, but I have it extended. And I'm just reaching to the ground. I'm reaching to the side of my chair with arm. You could also, if you want, you can stretch opposite. Play around with this one. See what feels good to you. Good. Alyssa's got elbow behind head. That's good too. Okay, good. Let it out. And we're going to do the same thing with the other side, whichever feels good to you. I'm actually going to stretch both arms out. Getting a nice stretch on the side body here, the side of the rib cage. Okay, and let that one out. All right. And cervical rotation. My cat's passed out. She's sitting next to me, just totally passed out. I notice whenever I do this stuff, it just relaxes her. She also had some Reiki yesterday. I have a colleague that did distance Reiki with her, and I swear it worked. I don't understand how yet, but she communicated with her long distance that she needed to cooperate with me in me putting the pill down her throat. And yesterday was the smoothest time I have had all month. in giving her medication after this Reiki session. It was just amazing. I cannot explain it, but whatever she did worked. I think she just focused her energy towards her thoughts, towards her, and just had a little talk with her. You need to cooperate because Leah's not trying to torture you. She's trying to help you heal. Athena has issues right now with her fur. She's over grooming her fur. And it's been like that for like a year. So, and we've tried many things. So that's why I was like, okay, I need to try something different. Let's try some Reiki. Okay, seated spinal twist. So this one's a good one. All you do is just take arms, and if you want to grab onto the arms of your chair, or if you don't have a chair, you know, just towards the back, and twist your spine a little bit. If you want to turn around and look to the side or to the back of you, you can do that. This one is one of my favorites. You're getting a nice spinal twist. Ooh, okay, let that one out. And other side. And you can play around with this one too. Do like neck rolls, shoulder rolls, whatever you need to do here. Oh, you can do that one at any time at your desk. Okay. So the last one we're going to do, we're going to end with a little bit of self-massage, which is my favorite. And it's actually called, there's a name for it. It's called self-havening. Havening, I'm not really sure where the name came from, but it is a technique that is very useful in kind of like tapping. It is meant to provide a distraction to the nervous system, to calm down the nervous system, calm down the vagus nerve, and it can help people in expressing their emotions, their trauma. They can talk, tell a difficult story, tell a narrative, a trauma narrative while they're doing these techniques. And it actually, studies show that it makes the people report that it makes it easier to tell the story or to talk about their emotions because it's soothing. Obviously, you know, soothes the nervous system and it's distracting. So it kind of desensitizes the intensity of the trauma they're talking about. Okay, so we're going to start by, remember how we did the jaw stimulation? Well, let's start by doing that. We're gonna give some self massage to the face, head, shoulders, and chest area. So let's start with the jaw and make it your own, whatever level of stimulation you want to do here. If you want to do deep massage, you can do deep. If you want to do nice and gentle circles, you can do gentle. If you want to incorporate a little bit of tapping, let your nervous system be your guide here. And start to maybe work up towards the top of the cheekbones. Get like the sinus area. Ooh, my sinuses have been clogged lately. I get a lot of congestion. So sometimes I like to just tap, tap, tap or rub the sinus area. Good. And then work your way up towards the forehead. Get like maybe the temples. Forehead is a really great, full of acupressure points. I like to take fingers. This is called the crown pull, actually. This is a different technique, but you can incorporate it into this. I press a little bit into the middle and then kind of rake my fingers gently across the forehead. This is a great one to do when I need to think, when I need to get the blood back into my front brain, when I'm having trouble coming up with the words, or my brain won't work very well. This is a good one. Or if I have a headache, or just stress, anxiety too. And you can also go a little bit up towards the scalp. And you can do a little bit up here. And you can also take it to wherever you need to. You don't necessarily have to follow me. I like to get the scalp area here and start giving my hair a little bit of stimulation. So if you like to play with your hair, now's a really good time, especially like this one after I've used my favorite shampoo. It makes it nice and soft. And just kind of go with it. I have long hair, so I like to twist. It. And see, yeah, kitties love this. Kitties love vagus nerve stuff. And you know how kitties love to be, petted and patted and scratched, and that's all vagus nerve stuff for them. Okay, so now let's go to the ears. Give a little bit of love to the ears. Take your time here with kind of tracing the little folds of the ears very gently. So many acupressure points here in the earlobes. And this is a direct correlation with vagus nerve, because vagus nerve starts at the base of the brain and basically travels right here in the ears and the face. So everything we've just done is directly stimulating vagus nerve. Can also get the little flap right here, which is on the side, which is called the tragus. You can give that a little bit of a pinch with your fingers, not too hard, but just a little bit. Some people get their piercings here, and that's also vagus nerve. It's supposed to be good for migraines. At some point, I would like to get one. And do gentle ear tugs. All right. Whew. That just gave me chills up my spine. All right, now let's start working way down the throat. This is also vagus nerve. Vagus nerve goes right through the throat. I just swallow right there. So very gentle stimulation with the fingertips. I don't have my claws on. I like having my claws because I like giving a little bit of stimulation using them. Not too hard though, but you can also do a little tap, tap, tap if you want, down the chest area. Let your nervous system be your guide of what level of touch feels good to you. Sometimes you might feel the need for a deeper massage for some of the knots. Do you feel the knots like in your chest area, right? Those are just toxins that need to be released, and just a gentle rub over that knot should release some of those toxins into the lymphatic system, and it'll make its way out. Okay, now we're going to give a little stimulation to the shoulders and the arms, and then we will end with that. So let's cross here. Just hold the shoulders, kind of squeeze. Take a breath in. And then now we're just going to take the hands and gently bring them down the sides of the arms. I like this one especially because it's like a self-hug and it's very soothing and gentle. If you need, if you've been beating yourself up, this is a good one to do. Just, gonna be okay. You got this, girl. Any of those things you want to say to yourself while doing this one. And you see how you can do any of these things that we've done in this routine, this self-havening routine. You can do any of them by themselves. Or you can spend a couple minutes doing all of them. Depends on how much time you have and what you want to do. And you can also just choose to sit here if you want and squeeze. Okay, now let's go down to the elbows. The elbows are very sensitive acupressure point. This is actually one of the acupressure points that the Chinese called triple warmer, which governs fight or flight response. So you can, at any time, you can just rub elbow point and it'll interrupt the fight or flight response. You might also notice that by rubbing the elbow points, you'll salivate more, or you'll get a yawn or an inhale. You can do that pretty discreetly too, if you need to. Okay, now let's start going out the forearms. I've been having a lot of pain in my left elbow, and it's radiating down this arm. So this one is a really good one for me to do today. I'm going to give it a little bit deeper of a knead, like a massage. But you can go more gentle if you want. All right, now start going out to the hands. And you can also just kind of gently do it like this as well. Whatever your nervous system's calling for. Now let's go to the hands. And let's give a little bit of hand massage here. When's the last time you gave your hands a little massage? So I like to take my thumb and give the other hand the palms. And you can, another time, I know I didn't tell you to grab any oil, but you can grab any kind of oil, your favorite oil, essential oil, castor oil, coconut oil, whatever, and give your hands a little massage. Your wrists. You can actually knead the fingers. The side, this is the karate chop point, remember that we do in tapping. You can just rub both. You can also trace the fingers. Lots of acupressure points on the sides of the fingers. Have y'all ever seen like these slinky rings that you can put on and go up and down your fingers? It's an acupressure technique. There's these little slinky rings, and you can take them and put them on each finger, and it gets so many acupressure points. Feels really good too. My acupuncturist gave me one and I lost it. I'm like, I need to get another one. Okay. All right. And then just rub palms together, and that's the way we will end. Take a deep breath in. And out. Let it all go. And let's take one final inhale. And exhale. Let it all out. Shake it out if you need to. Shake out your wrists, your hands. Shake your head if you need to. Kind of just rub off some of the negative energy. Literally rub it off. And there's Melanie. Something worked. I don't know what. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the recording, and I would love to. Okay,